Hi everyone, welcome to CLLST. So I hope I'm audible, visible, everything is there. You can see the slide also. Can I have a quick shout out? Yes, this means that I'm audible. So, before I get into today's agenda of the session, so obviously, first let me explain what is the agenda. So, I will be covering the important bodies which is there in news from constitutional perspective, from executive perspective, from statutory perspective also. So, we'll cover that important bodies in news, and where Supreme Court has also, to some extent intervened, or Supreme Court has also given some judgment. So, considering that, we are going to cover that, and at last you have 5 questions. You are supposed to answer those questions before you are supposed to answer those questions once we are done with the session, and you are supposed to answer the same in the chat box, in the comment section. But before I get into this important bodies which is in news, or before we get into the practice session, uh, this is October, and now exam is very near. I can say that it's almost like 1.5 months we have in hand. So considering that, I hope you guys are doing fairly good in mocks. You guys are well prepared with the exams. You're not carrying that anxiety with you, and you are keeping yourself calm and composed. So ideally, if we say that we have 1.5 months in hand, I'll say that for 1 month our focus shall be again to improve on our weaknesses, to work on our weaknesses, to improve our score by 5 to 10 marks in mocks. Let's say some of you are still scoring in the range of 60, 70, 70, 80s. So for 1 month you can practice and try to touch the borderline, or you can say of 90, 95. If you want to be in a comfortable position, if you are aiming for the top NLUs, this shall be your basic criteria, that at least I shall touch the benchmark of 90, 95 in upcoming mocks. I'm not putting up any pressure on you guys, but this is a very kind of important thing that we need to keep in mind, and we shall be very serious now. Like when I interact with students, some of you says I have not written the mocks, or still many mocks of ours are pending. So if you take into consideration these things, we can't take this excuse that we don't have time, because this is the last few moments, you can say, before the exam. So no matter what, this is the time where you are supposed to take 2 mocks every week. You are supposed to analyze your mocks. You're supposed to improve your marks by 5 or 2 3 marks in every mock. Don't keep, I'm not like trying to create a fear in your mind, but yes, if you want to be in top NLUs, at least you shall touch the benchmark, or for that matter in NLUs you have to touch the benchmark of 1995 at least, minimum. I'm saying that you have to keep an target of. And attempting mocks twice a week is very much important from our examination perspective. And it is not only about attempting the mocks, it is also about scoring good in these mocks. Also, it is about keeping this in mind, that what I am going to do, or what I am doing in this particular mock, this is what I'll be repeating in actual CLAT examination. So from now onwards, attempt each and every mock as you are attempting the actual CLAT paper. Try to attempt it in the same window of 2 to 4 p.m. Try to keep yourself, not, make sure that you're not getting distracted with anything. Just you, your mock, and a watch, so that you can keep an eye on time also. Also, one important thing which I came across was that the students were asking this question, that will we get extra mark to fill the OMR? No, you will not get extra time to fill the OMR. You will not get any extra time to fill the OMR. You have to fill the OMR within that particular 2 hours time period only. Yes, they do give paper early so that you can fill all your details, but you're not supposed to, और OMR में अपने roll numbers and all डालने के लिए आपको पहले मिलता है, but you're not supposed to open the paper before the exam time starts. So considering that, you have to keep this in mind, that you won't be getting any extra time. And with respect to filling of OMR, again, it depends on student to student. Some of you feel comfortable, like after doing one section you feel like going and filling the OMR, and some of you keep it for last. So those who are filling it after completing one section, there's another important thing which you need to keep in mind is, let's say I have attempted legal. I have in legal there are, let's say, 32 questions. I skipped 2 questions. I attempted 30 questions. Out of those 30 questions, out of those 30 questions, 25 I'm very sure that this is the right answer according to me. So I'll first mark those 25 questions. For next five questions, I'm not very sure, or I feel like I shall go back and solve it again. So there, don't fill the OMR, because once you'll fill the OMR, you can't make any changes. So for those 5 questions, keep it marked on your question paper with pencil that these are the questions which I'm supposed to relook. So, and leave that question, move ahead, solve other sections, and at last, when time will permit, come back to those 5 questions, try to read it again. Wherever you are getting confused, figure out what are the issues, and then whichever option you feel like is the right choice, mark that. So don't mark all the 30 questions together if you are confused with some of the question. Wherever you are getting confused, keep that question for last. Don't mark, because once you'll mark, you won't be able to make any changes in the OMR. So these small details plays a very important role. Similarly, sometimes we do panic when we sit in the actual examination hall. We do panic looking at our surrounding, seeing that, oh, so many peers are writing and everything. So wherever you feel like you get anxious, you get panic, and बहुत समझ में कुछ नहीं आ रहा होता है, so at that particular moment, take a pause for 2-3 minutes. Don't do anything, calm yourself, and then attempt. Because अगर वो जब आप anxious होते हो and at the same time you'll try to attempt the paper, then there are chances that you'll ruin your paper. So considering that, keep yourself very calm and relax your mind, and then come back and attempt the questions. And the other thing is, by now you guys must have realized that where I'm lacking, or which is my weaker section. So considering that, you may have attempted so many mocks by now, so go back and start revising from the very first mock. I'm not asking you to go back and take and attempt each and every mock again. I'm asking, let's say I'm weak in legal section, so I'll go back and attempt legal section of each and every mock, so that I can strengthen that point of mine. Similarly, some of you are struggling with logical, so you can just pick logical. 25 minutes ka time set karo and solve logical sections of each and every mock which you have attempted in past. Revision of past mock is also very important from GK perspective, because whatever has happened in last 1 years, or whatever is having relevance in past also, all these topic must have been covered in your mock. So if you feel like too much of information है, too much of resources है, मुझे कहाँ से रिवाइज करना चाहिए, क्या क्या रिवाइज करना चाहिए, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, that is the always the pain point in case of GK. So considering that, go back and revise it from the mocks. You'll get a fair idea as to what all are important and where I'm missing the information or where I'm not remembering the information. So mock will be a very good source. So for next 1 month, try to do these things. Why I'm saying 1 month is very important, I'm not counting the last 15 days. Last 15 days ना हम रिवाइज करते हैं, हम और अपने मार्क्स को थोड़ा इम्प्रूव करने की कोशिश करते हैं. So 15 days keep for that, but for next 1 month, you can still try to improve. You can still try different permutation and combination, different strategy. So let's say somewhere you're struggling with the time management also, so for 1 month you can try different strategy, change the way of attempting the mocks in case you're struggling with time management. So for 1 month, try doing these things. Also keep a target that by every mock I'm supposed to improve my marks by 2, 3, 5, whatever is your target area. And last 15 days will be for revision. So keep these small things in mind for next 1.5 months if you want to ace CLAT and if you want to land in NLUs. Now when we talk about the bodies, I'm not I am not giving a gyan sort of thing, but this is these things are very important aspect considering our examination. So if you keep these things in mind, few steps, then it will help you a lot. Yeah, now coming back to the important constitutional bodies and executive bodies, or you can say statutory bodies, which is in news. So Lokpal is something which you always find in news. So why it is in news? Because a search committee has extended the date for receiving application for the post of chairperson and members of anti-corruption ombudsman Lokpal. What is Lokpal? So the term was coined in the year 1996, Lokpal Lokayukta. It is a national anti-corruption ombudsman to look into complaint against public servant, which are defined under the Lokpal and Lokayukt Act 2013. According to Act, there shall be a director of inquiry not below the rank of joint secretary who shall be appointed by the government and to conduct preliminary inquiries referred to CVC by the Lokpal. Though Lokpal came into 2019, Director of Inquiry has not been yet appointed. So this is, I mean, very important when we talk about composition of Lokpal. So it consists of chairperson, a maximum of 8 members, of which 50% shall be judicial member, 50% shall be from SC, ST, OBCs, minorities, and women also. The tenure is chairperson and member of Lokpal are appointed for a 5 terms of 5 years or until attaining the age of 70, whichever is earlier. Then it is the chairperson and Lokpal members shall be appointed by President on recommendation of SC. The selection committee constitute the Prime Minister as a chairperson, leader of Lok Sabha Speaker, leader of opposition, CJI or maybe his nominee, and eminent jurist, which is again nominated by the president based on the recommendation of other members of the panel. And Department of Personnel and Training needs to create a list of candidates who are interested to become the chairperson or member of the Lokpal. And here, if the property is been occupied by or acquired by corrupt means, even while prosecution is pending, then confiscation of property can be done. 60 days is there for completion of inquiry and 6 months for completion of investigation by CBI. So these are the some of the things. Also with respect to removal, so they can be removed by president after an inquiry by the selection committee, and there has to be a petition which has to be signed by 100 members of the parliament. And if you talk about its jurisdiction, so it does extend prime minister, ministers, MP, group A, B, C, and D officials and official of central. I mean, it extends to prime ministers and all these ministers and group A, B, C, D officers and officials of central government. Any society, trust, or body that receives foreign contribution above rupees 10 lakh are also subject to Lokpal jurisdiction. So this is with respect to Lokpal. Then second is delimitation commission. So Supreme Court has asked the center to set up a fresh delimitation commission to ensure a proportional representations of the communities as they are specified as SCs and STs as mandated under the constitution. This has been set up since independence for 4 times, 1952, 63, 73, and 2002. The 42nd constitutional amendment froze this delimitation exercise until the first census after the 2000 was published. 2002, the 84th constitutional amendment further extended the freeze for 25 years till 2026. So after 2026, again this will be done. And if we talk about, it is basically the role of delimitation commission, so it is basically responsible for the readjustment of constituencies of Lok Sabha and state assembly after every census. And that is why you must be knowing that when we talk about the women representation in parliament, where 33% of seats are being reserved for women, it did not came into force in the year 2024 because delimitation commission is supposed to go ahead and do it after 2026. And when we talk about the decision which is being taken by them, they are final and unchallenged by any court. And composition is a Supreme Court judge who acts as a chairperson, then chief election commissioners of India or the election commissioners nominated by him or her, then respective state election commissioners are there who are the part of the same. Then is Central Bureau of Investigation. So Tamil Nadu recently withdraws general consent accorded to CBI to probe a case in their state. And in case of specific consent, CBI would have to apply to the state government in every case. If specific consent is not granted to CBI, the CBI official will not have the power of police personnel when they enter the state. Withdrawal is not applicable to cases in which the investigation is already in progress. CBI investigation, anti-corruption investigations होते हैं, special crime investigations होते हैं, economic offences होते हैं, suo moto cases भी होते हैं. Recently, the RG thing also got transferred to CBI. If we talk about CBI, it got established in 1963 under the Ministry of Personal Pension and Public Grievances. Then it is governed by Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. So that is why neither it is called as a, you can say, constitutional body. And when we talk about, so it is, if you talk about the composition, so it is headed by director of CBI, which is again appointed by a 3-member committee, prime minister, leader of opposition, and the CJI. The tenure is 2 years tenure, but can be given 3 annual extension also. Focuses on combating corruptions in public life, curb economic and violent crimes through investigation and prosecution. You can say fight cyber and technological crime also. Assistant to Central Vigilance Commission in Lokpal also. It is the nodal police agency in India also, which coordinates investigation on behalf of Interpol members of the countries. So these are some of the ideas with respect to CBI. Then Election Commission of India. This is something which we have discussed at multiple occasions with respect to appointment of election commissioners, the Supreme Court, the government and all. So I don't think I need to explain this in again because we have already done it at earlier occasion. The next one is Directorate of Enforcement. So why it is in news? Because Supreme Court declared the third extension given to the Directorate of Enforcement chief as invalid. What are the power of Directorate of Enforcement? So they have the power to seize assets, they have power to summon, same power as a civil court, basically, you can say, regarding discovery, inspection, production of evidences, summon, examining, issuing commissions, etc. They also have a power to arrest. So can investigate and make arrest for violation of Prevention of Money Laundering Act and also under FEMA without waiting for a registration of formal FIR by police. In 2022, the Supreme Court ruled that the statement recorded by Enforcement Directorate official can be admitted as an evidence in court, and they have the rights to recover the fines, penalties, and areas of penalties also under the FEMA Act. When you talk about the establishment, so it was established in 1952 under the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. It is headed by an ED director who is appointed as per the provision of the, you can say, CBC Act. 2 years का tenure होता है, but can be given a 3-year annual extension also. Their function is basically responsible for enforcement of FEMA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, and also Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities 1974. So these are some of the functions which is of Directorate of Enforcement. So these are some of the bodies which is in news from the constitutional executive, or you can say statutory bodies. And from next class onwards, I think, because now we have very few times left in hand, both from the perspective of CLAT, AILET, and SLAT, we'll be practicing questions. So for today's session, I'm just keeping this problem on your screen for a few seconds. Then I'll move to problem 2, then 3, 4, 5. You guys are supposed to, after the session ends, you guys are supposed to solve this problem and comment the right answer in the comment section. And then only I'll come up with a test based on CLAT in next class. And then in next class, we'll we'll conduct a test on AILET and all. But for that, you'll have to answer this in comment section. So here goes the principle 2. Some of you always comment saying कि fast move कर रहा है, तो आप pause करो, solve करो, आगे बढ़ो. Problem 3. So these are from law of torts, which you must have realized by now. Problem 4. And the last one is problem 5. So this is all about today's session, guys. Please do suggest me what you want to do in next class, whether you want to go ahead, because current affairs you are also doing on Saturday. So what do you want to do, practice more and more questions, or you still want are struggling with the static aspect of your, you can say, legal section? Because if you take into consideration legal section of CLAT, so they either ask static aspect or they ask current affairs in the form of static, like let's say if bigamy is in news, so they'll ask questions referring to Sarla Mudgal case also. So considering that whenever you are reading something in current affairs, you also need to have a basic idea of that particular concept, law. And the third one is pure contemporary legal development, any changes in the law, any changes in the Supreme Court's judgments, or you can say any government bringing any new legislation, that also forms a part of contemporary legal development. So considering all these things, you can prepare, and you can also come up with suggestion as to what you want me to cover in the next class. So this is all about today's session, guys. See you guys in the next class. Thank you.